The night it all fell apart. The rain outside felt heavier than usual, like even the sky knew something was about to shatter. I sat on the couch, waiting for Ethan to come home, watching the clock tick past midnight. My calls went unanswered, my messages left on read. I told myself he was just working late, but deep down, something cold twisted in my stomach. Then my phone buzzed. It was my friend Tasha, and the moment I opened her message, my heart stopped. A single photo. Ethan, sitting at a restaurant, holding another woman's hand, smiling like I never existed. Then another photo. Him leaning across the table, kissing her. My breath caught, my chest burned, and before I could think, I grabbed my car keys and drove through the storm. I parked near the restaurant, heart racing as I saw him through the window, laughing, relaxed, glowing in candlelight with her. I didn't go in. I couldn't. I just sat there, watching the man I loved betray me without even looking guilty. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so tight my hands hurt. When I got home, I stared at our photos on the wall until my tears blurred them out. That night, I learned love doesn't always end with a goodbye. Sometimes, it ends quietly, with a truth you never asked for. Before that night, Ethan and I looked perfect from the outside. We met at a charity gala 2 years ago. He was charming, warm, confident, the kind of man who knew exactly what to say. I was an interior designer, always caught up in my work, and he made me feel seen. We spent weekends hiking, laughing, planning futures that would never exist. My friends said I was lucky, my parents adored him, and for a while, I believed them. But the signs had been there all along. The phone that never left his hand, the late-night meetings, the sudden trips. Whenever I asked questions, he'd smile, hug me, and say, "You're overthinking again, Anna." I wanted to trust him, so I did. I gave him every chance, every benefit of the doubt, until the truth finally hit me like a cold slap. The night I saw that photo wasn't the beginning of our end. It was just the moment I stopped pretending we were okay. When he finally came home that night, soaked from the rain, I was waiting. He smiled like nothing had happened, dropped his keys, and said, "You're still up." I didn't say a word. I just held up my phone and showed him the photo. The color drained from his face. "It's not what it looks like," he said quickly. I laughed, just a broken sound. "Really? Because it looks exactly like you're kissing another woman." He tried to talk his way out of it, claiming it was work, that she was just a client. When I didn't buy it, his tone shifted. "You're being dramatic. Maybe if you trusted me more." That's when I realized who he really was. Not the man I fell in love with, but someone who'd rather gaslight me than admit he'd lied. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just looked at him and said, "You'll regret this someday." He laughed as he walked out the door. But he didn't know that wasn't anger in my voice. It was a promise. Weeks passed, and every morning I woke up to the same empty ache. Then, out of nowhere, I got a message from her. Vanessa, the woman from the photos. She wanted to meet. Against my better judgment, I said yes. We met at a cafe. She was beautiful, confident, almost smug. "You must be Anna," she said with a little smirk. "I just thought you should know. Ethan and I are together now." My stomach twisted, but I stayed calm. "Good for you," I said quietly. She leaned closer. "He told me you were controlling. That you never supported him. I guess he just needed someone who believed in him." Her words stung, but I saw through her. She wasn't confident. She was desperate to prove she'd won. That's when it hit me. Ethan wasn't just unfaithful, he was rewriting history to make me the villain. He wasn't content breaking my heart. He wanted to destroy my name too. I walked out of that cafe with tears burning my eyes, but something inside me hardened. If he wanted a game, I'd make sure I was the one who finished it. I didn't want revenge through chaos or shouting. I wanted truth to do the damage. Ethan had always been careless with his secrets. When we lived together, I helped him organize his work files and I remembered his passwords. So one night, I opened my laptop, logged in, and started searching. What I found made me sick. Emails, falsified reports, fake expense claims. He wasn't just lying to me, he was lying to his company. I gathered everything into a neat folder, labeled it Truth, and sent it anonymously to his HR department. I didn't add a single lie, just proof. 2 weeks later, word spread that Ethan was suspended pending investigation. His colleagues stopped talking to him, and Vanessa. She disappeared from his life faster than she entered it. I didn't smile, I didn't brag. I just felt calm. Because justice doesn't always need an audience. Months passed before I saw him again. He showed up at my door, eyes hollow, clothes wrinkled, pride gone. "Anna," he said softly, "I made a mistake. I lost everything. Vanessa left. My job's gone. Please, I just need someone to talk to." For a second, I almost felt sorry for him. But then I remembered the sleepless nights, the humiliation, the way he'd laughed when I told him he'd regret it. I looked at him and said quietly, "I hope you find peace, Ethan, but it won't be with me." He tried to speak again, but I closed the door gently. And just like that, the story that once consumed me finally ended. After he left, the silence felt different. Softer. I started running again. I started smiling again. I learned to love my own company. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't waiting for anyone to come home. One afternoon, I saw Ethan at a cafe downtown. Alone. Staring at his phone like he was waiting for someone who'd never come. Our eyes met for just a moment, and all I felt was peace. I turned and walked away. No words, no anger, just freedom. Betrayal hurts, but it teaches you things no comfort ever could. It teaches you that closure doesn't come from someone's apology. It comes from acceptance. It shows you that revenge doesn't have to be cruel or loud. Sometimes, it's just silence. Ethan thought he could break me, but it was his own lies that destroyed him. I didn't need to ruin him. I just needed to let the truth do its work. And the best part, I found myself again. Because the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's living like they never mattered at all.